A boy named Sion is sitting calmly in his classroom. Everything looks normal, just an ordinary high school morning. But suddenly, something snaps inside Sion. Without saying a single word, he slowly stands up from his chair, picks up a thick textbook, and the look in his eyes, it isn't the look of a quiet honor student anymore. It's the look of someone who has finally broken. To understand why this calm, top-of-the-class kid is about to do the unthinkable, we have to rewind exactly 13 days. 13 days that turn a silent genius into a walking storm. Back then, Sion is the kind of student every teacher dreams about. Sharp, focused, always at the top of his class. But he's also completely alone. He has no friends. He doesn't talk to anyone. He just sits in the back, head buried in his books, minding his own business. One day, the teacher walks into class and announces the math test results. Sion takes the gold prize, scoring the highest in the class. A loud, arrogant boy named Yongbin grabs third place and the bronze. Yongbin isn't just any student. He's the king of the school's bullies, the kid who terrorizes anyone weaker than him. During lunch, Yongbin is busy harassing some helpless kid in the hallway with his crew. Then his eyes lock on Sion. He smirks, kicks off his slipper, and lets it fly straight at Sion's head. Then, with fake innocence, he says, "Oh man, my bad. That was an accident. Forgive me, will you?" Sion doesn't flinch. He just looks up coldly and says, "Don't ever make that mistake again." That single line lights a fuse in Yongbin. He storms over, gets in Sion's face, and growls, "And what exactly are you gonna do if I do it again?" Sion is just about to throw hands when, out of nowhere, a group of guys from another class barge in, looking for a kid named Suho. Turns out, Suho took one of their friend's girlfriends out on a date. When they corner him about it, Suho casually shrugs and says, "She wasn't my type. She was the one chasing me, so I just played along." That answer flips a switch. They jump him right there in the classroom. But here's the thing about Suho, the guy is built different. He knows martial arts. He takes on the entire gang single-handedly and walks away, barely breaking a sweat. The whole class scrambles into a corner, terrified. But not Sion. He doesn't move. He just sits there and finally says, "Why are you fighting in class? You could have taken this outside." Suho looks at him, smirks, and walks off without a word. When school ends, Sion heads home. We meet his dad. Turns out his parents are divorced, and Sion lives with his father. His mom is a teacher, and right now she's on the phone giving him a long motherly lecture. As soon as the call ends, his dad walks in and tells him he's heading out of town for a few days for work. The next morning, Sion walks into an empty classroom. Only one person is there, Suho, sprawled out on a desk, fast asleep. Later that day, during gym class, Sion struggles during the running drills. He's barely able to keep up. Yongbin spots an opportunity and starts mocking him in front of everyone. But before things escalate, Suho casually pulls off his shoe and throws it at one of Yongbin's friends, ordering him to bring it back. The kid quietly obeys. None of them dare to mess with Suho, but once they're back in the school building, Yongbin's gang starts picking on Sion again. This time, Sion walks straight up to them and tells them flat out, "Stop messing with me." One of Yongbin's friends grabs him by the throat. Sion can barely breathe. Yongbin leans in, smirking. "Apologize. Right now." Sion refuses. The teacher walks in just in time, and the bully releases him. They all play it off as a joke, and even Sion goes along with it because he doesn't want trouble. After school, Sion heads home and starts studying on his laptop, just like any other day. Then the doorbell rings. He opens the door, and standing there in a delivery uniform is none other than Suho. Both of them freeze for a second. Sion goes, "Why are you here? I didn't order anything." Suho checks the address and realizes he's at the wrong house. But instead of leaving, he flashes a grin and says, "Well, I'm already here. At least give me a glass of water." He talks to Sion in this warm, friendly way that nobody at school ever has, drinks his water, says thanks, and disappears. The next day, a new student transfers into their class, a soft-spoken kid named Beom Seok. The moment lunch break hits, Yongbin's gang swarms him and starts bullying him. Sion walks over, pushes through the crowd, and tells Yongbin, "Move, that's my seat." Yongbin grins. "Make me. What are you gonna do, huh?" The tension cracks. They're seconds away from a brawl when Suho suddenly raises his head and snaps, "Why are you all making so much noise? Can't you see I'm trying to sleep here?" One look from Suho, and Yongbin backs down without another word. That night, Yongbin is partying with his crew at a pub. They're all venting about Sion, talking about how arrogant he's gotten. Yongbin nods. "I noticed too, but I'm gonna teach him a lesson he'll never forget for the rest of his life." Just then, a guy named Suk-dae walks in carrying drugs. They all start using. After a while, Yongbin pulls Suk-dae aside and asks, "Hey, what would happen if someone got hit with fentanyl on the neck?" Suk-dae shrugs. "Nothing major. They'd get dizzy, maybe black out a little." Then he asks, "Why are you asking?" Yongbin just smiles. No reason. Later that evening, Sion is walking home when some random guys mistake him for a drug dealer and try to hand him drugs. Suk-dae quickly steps in and says, "That's not the guy." Sion snaps, "Get out of my way." One of the thugs threatens him. "Watch your tone if you don't want to die." Without hesitation, Sion pulls out his pen, ready to fight. Suk-dae sees this and quickly drags his friends back, not wanting any heat. Sion walks away in silence. Then comes the day of the big test. Yongbin pulls the new kid Beom Seok outside and tells him, "I heard you got bullied a lot at your old school. That's why you transferred here, right?" Beom Seok freezes. The very nightmare he was running from is staring him in the face again. Yongbin smiles. "Don't worry, I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend. We're friends, right?" Beom Seok nervously nods. "Good. Then do your friend a tiny favor. Take this and slap it on Sion's neck." The exam begins. Yongbin gives Beom Seok the signal. Trembling, Beom Seok slaps Sion's neck and quickly says, "Sorry, there was a mosquito on your neck. I got it." Sion shrugs it off. He has no idea his neck has just been laced with fentanyl. A few minutes later, his vision starts blurring. His head starts spinning. He can't focus on the test. He stumbles to the bathroom, splashes cold water on his face, and tries to pull himself together. He finally drags himself back to his seat, breathing hard. Then he glances at his neck and sees it the patch, the drug, and that's when something inside him just breaks. He starts slapping his own face violently. The whole class stares in shock. Then suddenly he slams his hand on the desk so hard the entire room goes silent. His eyes lock onto Beom Seok. The poor kid almost wets himself. Then Sion slowly stands up. He walks toward Yongbin's row, picks up a heavy book, and slams it directly into Yongbin's face. He stabs a pen into another guy's hand, and then he goes nuclear. Sion throws Yongbin to the ground, drapes a curtain over his head, and beats him senseless. Blood is pouring from Yongbin's mouth. Sion leans down and whispers through clenched teeth, I told you to stay away from me." He's about to keep going when Suho jumps in and stops him. "That's enough, man. You're gonna kill him." Sion turns and swings at Suho too. Their fight starts, but it doesn't last long because the teacher rushes in. Suho instantly covers for Sion and says, "These two are my friends. They were just fighting and I was breaking it up." That night, the teacher takes Sion to the hospital because Yongbin is admitted. Yongbin's mom is screaming at Sion, calling him every name in the book. But Sion calmly pulls out the drug patch and says, "Your son slapped this on my neck during the exam." Yongbin denies it. "Where's your proof?" Sion walks over to Yongbin's bag, opens it, and dumps out a pile of drugs onto the floor. The teacher looks at the mom and says coldly, If you go to the police, your son will be the first one in jail. The best thing you can do is transfer him to another school. Late that night, Sion walks back home. His dad sees the bruises on his face and asks what happened. Sion brushes it off. It's nothing. The next day, Yongbin's friends find out he's been transferred out. They corner Sion and tell him to meet them outside during lunch. Sion says, "Why wait? Let's settle it now." The whole class follows them, expecting a bloodbath. But Sion walks into the bathroom, locks the door behind him, and pulls out his pen. The boys flash back to the curtain incident, the blood, the rage. Sion looks them dead in the eye. End this fight. Right here. Right now. That's all he says, and walks out. His classmates swarm him, asking what happened. Sion stares at them coldly. "Why are you asking me? Are you my friends? Have we ever even spoken before?" And he walks back to his seat in silence. Meanwhile, Yongbin meets up with Sukdae and pays him to take Sion down. That same evening, while Sion is walking home, he runs into Suho, who's heading out for his delivery shift. Sion awkwardly apologizes for jumping him during the fight. Suho grins. "I'll only accept your apology if you treat me to a meal." And just like that, he's gone. Suho works deliveries late into the night, then comes to school early and crashes on his desk. When Sion walks in the next morning, he carefully avoids opening the window so Suho can keep sleeping. At lunch, Sion gently shakes him awake. "Come on, man. I owe you that meal." They eat together, and during the meal, Sion learns that Suho lives only with his grandma and works 2 jobs to survive. Around this time, we cut to a guy who's hopelessly hooked on a betting app and just lost everything. He meets Sukdae, and a girl named Yong Yi signs some sketchy contract and borrows money so he can keep gambling. Then Sukdae goes to meet Yongbin, and the two of them start watching Sion from a distance. After school, Beom-sek approaches Sion and tries to talk to him, but Sion shuts him down. "You don't need to apologize. You don't need to be my friend." He walks off. Just outside the school gate, Sukdae and Yong Yi ambush him. They beat him down and start dragging him away to finish the job. Beom-sek witnesses the whole thing and runs straight to Suho. "They're taking Sion." Suho shrugs. "And? We're not exactly best friends. Plus, we can't keep saving him every time." He starts heading to work. Beom-sek desperately blurts out, "I'll pay you for it. That changes everything." Suho turns around. "Okay, let's go." Sukdae drags Sion to a deserted lot. Yongbin is already waiting. "Break his hand," Yongbin orders, so he can't even write his exam. But before they touch him, Sion explodes. He attacks first. He takes them all on by himself. Just when he thinks he's free, Sukdae grabs him from behind and slams him to the ground. Yongbin starts kicking him over and over. Then they pin his arm down and start trying to snap it. That's when Suho arrives. Cool, calm, deadly. He flies in with a brutal kick that takes down 3 of them at once and grabs Sion. As they're escaping, Sukdae jumps Suho, and the two start trading punches in a savage one-on-one. Mid-fight, Suho spots Yongbin grabbing a glass bottle and rushing towards Sion. He tries to break free, but Sukdae holds him down. Just as Yongbin swings, Beom-sek comes out of nowhere and shoves him to the ground. Suho gets back up. Sukdae backs off. The fight is over. Sion turns to Yongbin one last time. "End this, or it's going to get a lot worse." All 3 of them limp away. Suho takes Sion and Beom-sek to the restaurant where he works as his second job. They help him out, and over food, Sion asks how he handles 2 jobs. Suho says he only does deliveries 3 times a week. Beom-sek finally looks Sion in the eye and says, "I'm so sorry. Yongbin threatened me." "That's why I did it." Sion nods quietly. "It's okay." And just like that, the 3 of them become real friends. Now we meet Gil-soo, the boss of Sukdae and Yongyi's whole crew, a violent man who runs them like slaves. When he finds out Sukdae got beaten up in some unrelated street fight, he loses it. and beats Sukdae bloody. Meanwhile, Suho and Beom Seok drag Sion out for some fun. They tell his parents he's studying, then they take him to a gaming arcade. For the first time in his life, Sion is actually laughing with friends. Then Suho suggests drinks. Sion politely declines, saying he needs to study, so the two go alone. Around the same time, Gil-soo meets up with Yong-bin and gives him some shady job to handle. Sion stops by a convenience store, where he runs into Yong-yi again. She's caught stealing lipstick and quickly grabs Sion's arm, claiming she's his girlfriend, so the store owner lets her go. Outside, she begs him to walk her home. Instead, she pulls him into a small restaurant, and they actually end up talking for a while. She likes him at first sight, slips her number into his phone, apologizes for the trouble, and says goodbye. The next day, Yong-bin shows up at his old school to pick up his stuff, and runs into Sion, Suho, and Beom Seok. He breaks down, almost crying. "Please, just talk to my lawyer. Tell him those drugs weren't mine. I'll go to jail otherwise." He begs and begs until Sion finally agrees. They head out together. But the second they're out, Yong-bin betrays them and leads them straight into a trap. Gil-soo and his entire gang are waiting, and so is Yong-yi. Gil-soo gets in their faces. "If you want to live, bring me 15 million won in 3 days, or you're done." Suho fires back, threatens someone else. "We're not afraid of you." Gil-soo pulls out a knife and slices Suho's hand. 3 days, and he's gone. From that moment on, Gil-soo's men shadow them everywhere they go. Sion contacts Yong-yi to find out what's going on. She tells him the whole truth, they're all orphans. Gil-soo gave them food and shelter, and in return, made them his slaves. He's a dangerous man and won't hesitate to kill for money. Just pay him, she begs. But Sion already knows the truth. Even if they pay, Gil-soo will keep coming for more. Beom Seok, panicking, secretly steals his rich father's expensive watch. The next day, he proudly shows up with 15 million won in cash and tells the others, "I sold my dad's watch. We can end this." Suho explodes. "Are you insane? Take that money back, right now." Sion calms them both down. "I figured something out." He explains that Gil-soo runs an illegal drug operation through kids and is partnered with someone running a gambling app that's bleeding their entire school dry. If we get our hands on the documents and Gil-soo's locker proof of all his illegal activities and hand it to the police, he's done. The next day, Gil-soo's men are waiting outside school. Suho says, "I'll go with him to his hideout. You two follow with the police." Suho approaches Gil-soo, and the gang takes him away. Yong-yi tells Gil-soo she'll bring the others. She secretly meets Sion and gives him the address of Gil-soo's hideout. Yong-yi wants out too. She sees this as her one shot to be free. The moment Beom Seok hears the address, he rushes off in a taxi to save Suho. Sion tells him to wait, but Beom Seok shouts, "Bring the police, I'll go in first." Suho is being beaten brutally by Gil-soo, but cleverly, Suho has already sent a voicemail to Sion with the location. Gil-soo checks his phone, sees the messages, and realizes the cops are coming. Furious, he grabs all his evidence and starts to flee, but just as he steps out, Beom Seok appears with the money. "Please, take it. Just let my friend go." Gil-soo grabs him too, and takes both of them with him. Sion arrives with the cops, but the place is empty. They leave. Sion walks in alone and finds blood on the floor. Suho isn't picking up. Gil-soo has vanished with all the evidence. Gil-soo calls Sukdae, suspicious that he's been working with the kids. Yong-yi quietly follows Sukdae. Sion calls her, panicked. She quickly sends him the location and tells him, "Don't bring the cops this time, or we all die." Sion races to the spot. When Sukdae and Yong-yi reach Gil-soo, Suho and Beom Seok are tied up. Sion arrives, sees the cars, and calls the police. Gil-soo turns to Sukdae and demands, Why did you betray me? He starts beating him, senseless. Then he turns to Suho and Beom Seok with a knife, but Sukdae, bleeding, gets up and tackles him. We're not afraid of you anymore. A vicious fight breaks out. Young-yi smashes something onto Gil-soo's head. He recovers and grabs her throat, ready to kill her. Then sirens cut through the air. Sion walks in calmly. The cops are here. It's over. They're checking your car right now. Gil-soo bolts. Sion frees Suho and Beom Seok, but Gil-soo realizes too late there are no cops. The sirens are just a sound on Sion's phone. He returns furious, and the fight explodes again. Sukdae and Young-yi escape. Then real police sirens fill the air. Gil-soo slips away from the cops too, but Sion chases him down. He grabs a steel bar and swings, but Gil-soo overpowers him and pulls out a knife. Just then, Suho appears. Together, the two of them take Gil-soo down and knock him out cold. Sukdae and Young-yi are running, but Sukdae stops and tells her, "Live a good life." He turns himself in to take the fall for everything. By nightfall, every member of the gang is arrested. Sion brings Young-yi to see Suho, who's now in the hospital. He took the worst beating of all of them. Young-yi apologizes to him. Sion explains that Beom Seok's father is a powerful politician, and he made sure none of their names appear in the case. From that day on, Young-yi becomes part of their group. But Beom Seok's father isn't the saint the public thinks he is. Behind closed doors, he's a monster. He beats Beom Seok with a golf club and snarls, "I should have never adopted you." That's when we learn Beom Seok isn't his biological son. The next day at school, the three of them are minor legends. Youngbin's old gang is terrified of them. They eat lunch together and plan a night out. Suho insists they bring Young-yi too. That evening, Beom Seok scrolls through Suho's Instagram and sees pictures of Sion, Suho, and Young-yi together. Something stings inside him. Am I not a real friend? At dinner, Beom Seok feels invisible. Sion and Suho keep talking only to Young-yi. Later, they hit a karaoke spot. Young-yi and Suho are singing duets. Beom Seok feels left out and steps outside for drinks. That's when he runs into the bullies from his old school, the very nightmare he ran away from. He hides. But when he gets back inside, he sees Young-yi handed his phone to those boys, telling them where he is. She had no idea who they were. She thought they were his friends. Beom Seok explodes on her. They have a huge fight. Young-yi storms out. Suho runs after her. The old bullies show up looking for Beom Seok, but Sion shuts them down and tells them to leave. Beom Seok's mind starts cracking. He convinces himself that ever since Young-yi joined the group, his friends prefer her over him. Next day at school, when some students are talking loudly nearby, Beom Seok snaps and starts a fight with one of them. The kid mutters. He only acts tough because Sion and Suho are with him. That cuts deep. Suho pulls Beom Seok away, but Beom Seok yanks himself free and walks off. When he gets home, he sees endless calls from his old bullies, trying to lure him out and torment him again. He ignores them all. Meanwhile, Suho is teaching Sion how to fight. The two of them visit Beom Seok at his massive mansion and are stunned by his wealth. Beom Seok confesses, "I'm not my dad's real son. I was adopted." He breaks down and tells them everything that the old bullies are calling him again. Suho pats his shoulder. "Don't worry, I'll make them apologize to your face." They go straight to the karaoke spot where the bullies are hanging out. Beom Seok demands an apology. The boy refuses. Suho threatens him, and the kid quickly caves and apologizes. But Beom Seok's anger doesn't fade. He slaps the bully. The bully slaps him back, knocking off his glasses. Beom Seok grabs a microphone and tries to swing it like a weapon. Suho stops him cold. Sion warns the bullies, "Stay away from Beom Seok." But then Beom Seok turns on Suho. "I'm not your slave. Stop bossing me around." I see you doing it all the time. Suho is stunned. We came here to help you, and you're flipping it on us? Beom Seok storms off. Sion tries to stop him, but he ignores them. The old bullies follow him into the streets. But out of nowhere, Yongbin's old gang shows up, befriends Beom Seok, and beats the hell out of his old bullies, robbing them in the process. Beom Seok gets to take out all his old trauma on the kid who tortured him for years. Then Yongbin's crew takes him to a club. Beom Seok pays for everyone's drinks. They flatter him, hype him up, and convince him they're his real friends. In his head, Suho treated him like a slave. These guys treat him like a king. He unfollows Suho on Instagram that very night. The next day, instead of sitting with Sion and Suho, Beom Seok joins Yongbin's gang at lunch. Suho pulls him aside. What's happening to you? Why are you hanging with these losers? Beom Seok shrugs. It's my life. I'll hang out with whoever I want. That night, at the bar, Yongbin introduces Beom Seok to a guy named Kang, a brutal, skilled fighter. Meanwhile, Suho catches Sion walking home and drags him out for drinks. He tells Sion that Yongyi has been working hard and adjusting really well. Sion says, I think those guys are using Beom Seok. Suho shrugs. It's his life. Let him do what he wants. He's not a kid. At school, Beom Seok keeps getting closer to Yongbin's gang. He even abandons his seat next to Sion and sits with them. Sion quietly approaches the gang and warns them, leave Beom Seok alone, don't use him. During lunch, the gang cuts the line. Suho coldly tells them to get back. They obey instantly, but Beom Seok refuses. Rules are rules, man. Get back in line, Suho says. Beom Seok flat out refuses. Suho has to physically push him to the back. That humiliation buries itself deep. Beom Seok asks the gang if they know anyone who can take down Suho. They tell him about Kang. Beom Seok meets Kang and offers him 1 million won to beat Suho. Kang agrees. Days later, Suho's birthday arrives. Sion and Yongyi are throwing him a surprise party, but Beom Seok and Kang are planning the ambush. Beom Seok calls Suho. He doesn't pick up, so Beom Seok messages Yongyi, asking her to meet him at a restaurant for something urgent. She thinks he wants to apologize, so she goes alone, telling no one. When she arrives, Beom Seok tries to lure her away. She invites him to Suho's party instead. Whatever happened, it's not that big a deal. I'll make everything right between you guys. But Beom Seok refuses. Then Yongyi spots Yongbin and his gang lurking in the background. She knows something's wrong. Suho and Sion are still waiting at the apartment for Yongyi. Suho steps away to heat up the food. That's when messages start blowing up. Suho's phone, pictures of Yongyi being held hostage. Beom Seok is luring Suho to a building. But it's Sion who picks up the phone first. He sees everything. Without telling Suho, he quietly deletes the messages, so Suho's special day isn't ruined. Then he makes an excuse and slips out alone. Sion shows up at the building. He sees Beom Seok with the gang and Yongyi tied up. He grabs her and starts running. Yongbin's gang chases. Sion fights like a man possessed and tells Yongyi to run and call the police. He single-handedly takes them all down. But then Kang steps in. One punch and Sion hits the floor. Yongbin grabs a pipe and is about to swing it down on Sion's skull when Beom Seok grabs his arm. My beef isn't with Sion, it's with Suho. Let him go, Yongbin sneers. Your beef is with Suho, but ours is with him, and he beats Sion savagely with that pipe. Beom Seok can't watch. He turns and walks out. Kang stops them. Pay me. We'll get Suho another day. That's when they hear Yongyi has come back with cops. They scatter. Suho keeps waiting at the apartment for everyone. Nobody comes. Sion wakes up in the ambulance. Yongyi is telling the cops everything Beom Seok did, but Sion stops her. Beom Seok didn't do this. He's just our friend. He had nothing to do with it. He refuses to press charges and tells Yongyi never to tell Suho. He calls Beom Seok and quietly says, "Stop this. We're still your friends." At the hospital, Seon's dad asks who hurt him. Seon lies. "I just fell down some stairs." Beom Seok is wrecked with guilt. The next day at school, neither he nor Seon shows up. Suho calls, no answer. He overhears Yongbin's gang talking on the rooftop, bragging about beating Seon. Suho explodes on them. They spill everything. It was Beom Seok's plan for you, but Seon showed up instead. Suho races to Yongyi and demands the hospital name. She tells him Seon was just discharged. Suho visits Seon at home. Seon hides his bruised face. Suho pretends he doesn't see anything. "Just come back to school tomorrow," he says, and leaves. Beom Seok's dad beats him for causing trouble again, and tells him he'll be shipped off to study abroad. "Live or die there. I don't care." Beom Seok runs away from home. Crying, he calls Suho and tells him to meet at Kang's gym. Then he calls Kang too. The trap is set. When Suho walks into the gym, Beom Seok is already there. But Suho doesn't attack him. Instead he says, "Look, I'm sorry for whatever happened between us. Now apologize to Seon for what you did to him." Beom Seok refuses. Suho says coldly, "You're a stain on the word friend," and punches him. Then Kang challenges Suho. Suho first knocks out the bouncers outside, then steps into the ring. Kang records the entire fight on his phone. Kang shows off, but Suho overpowers him quickly. Then Yongbin's friend ambushes Suho from behind, knocks him down. Kang lands a brutal kick. Suho is barely conscious. Beom Seok finally jumps in too, releasing all his pent-up rage, kicking Suho over and over. Then everyone joins in. They beat him into the floor. A while later, one of Yongbin's friends notices something terrifying. Suho isn't breathing. Panic. They scatter. Beom Seok stares at Suho's lifeless body and finally feels the weight of what he's done. He cradles him, sobbing, "Suho, please, please get up." Then his father's man bursts in and drags Beom Seok out before he can be implicated. The man tells the others, "If the cops ask, say Suho was practicing with you and just collapsed mid-training." When the police arrive, they tell that exact lie. Suho's body is taken away. Beom Seok's dad beats him again for creating yet another scandal. Beom Seok keeps asking, "Is Suho okay? Please tell me he's okay." Nobody answers him. Seon shows up at school the next morning for their final exam. Suho isn't there. He checks his phone. Yongyi has called him a dozen times. He calls back. Suho's in the hospital. Beom Seok and his crew did this. Seon races to the hospital. The doctor's words drop like a bomb. Suho is in a coma. Seon falls apart. He cries harder than he ever has in his life. Yongyi tells him, "Go take your final exam." Suho would want that. But Seon isn't thinking about exams anymore. He wants revenge. He bursts into Yongbin's new school and beats him into a pulp. "Where's the guy who put Suho in a coma?" Yongbin coughs up blood. He's at the gym. Seon storms into Kang's gym and attacks him with a metal bar. The fight is savage. Seon is a man possessed. He beats Kang with anything he can grab. Then he picks up a dumbbell and slams it down on Kang's legs, snapping both of them. Kang's career, his life, finished. Seon walks out without a word. Beom Seok's dad is driving Beom Seok somewhere when Yongyi suddenly steps in front of the car. She walks up to Beom Seok and says, "You did this. You're a coward. If you've got any guts, come out and fight me." Beom Seok steps out and snarls back, "All of this happened because of you. Things were perfect before you showed up." It cuts her to the bone. Seon walks into his classroom. He picks up a fire extinguisher and unleashes hell on Yongbin's gang. The teacher runs to call the cops. Seon beats them all unconscious. Then he turns to Beom Seok and tackles him to the ground. "I told you to stop. Why did you do this? We were friends, the three of us." Beom Seok sobs. "I don't know why I did it. Just kill me. I don't deserve to live." But Seon, even now, still considers him a friend. He doesn't kill him. He gets up and walks out, tears streaming down his face. Teachers try to stop him. Sion, completely lost in rage, smashes a window with his bare hand. What do you people want from me? He returns to the hospital and sits beside Suho's bed. Eventually he falls asleep. In his dream, Suho is awake. Smiling, you really are completely insane. Sion cries and apologizes for everything, but when he opens his eyes, Suho hasn't moved. He's still in a coma. After that day, Beom Seok is shipped off to another country to study. Yong Yi takes the blame for everything onto herself and disappears without a trace. Beom Seok's dad tries everything to send Sion to jail, but Sion has the video Beom Seok recorded as evidence, so the dad can only get him expelled. Sion enrolls in a new high school, Unjong High. On his first day, his father looks at him and says, "Son, I'm proud of you. You didn't do anything wrong." Sion walks into his new classroom, and almost immediately, a familiar face appears, another bully, just like Young Bin, walking up to mess with him. Sion's eyes flash. He slowly reaches into his pocket and pulls out his legendary pen. And that, my friends, is where Season 1 of Weak Hero Class 1 ends. Now this series does have a Season 2. If you want me to break that one down too, drop next part in the comments below.